Good evening, good evening. This is the Man United Agenda, and we're playing Crystal Palace tomorrow. So we're joined by Rich from Eagle Eye Football and JC from Eagle Eye Football, as well as CALLULA and Rebel from the Man United Agenda. And we'll be doing a lovely preview. So join us and press the like button. Good evening, it's the Man United Agenda. My name is OMONDI Juma. Before we go into detail, I'm just going to let you know about our sponsor. It's GMS, it's Global Mapping Surveys. They assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. And check out the link. It will be in the description, guys. That's GMS, Global Mapping Surveys, in cooperation with the Man United Agenda. Yes, we got a sponsor and we're growing. And Man United are on the rise as well. I know all the Man United fans here on the panel are delighted with the way we started the new year. The manager, there's been some positive news today as well. Go and check out the show me and Rebel did earlier about the takeover. As in the words of Romano, here we go. Yes, it's kicking off. But what's kicking off tomorrow is the big game against Palace, and we've got a massive week after beating City. So, CALLULA, I haven't spoken to you since, well, for a while. Tell me about City briefly, punchy. Tell us about the City game. Where were you? How delighted were you? And how excited are you going into this week?
So for me, as I said, I'm really happy with Man United generally because Manchester is red. But by the way, it's always going to be red. But other than that, it's not even that. We've had the women beat Liverpool 6-0. We had the Premier League 2 beat the Liverpool 2-1. Then we had our under 18s, I think, beat Blackburn 3-2. And then we beat City magnificently. I can't even talk. Let's see what I mean. The excitement is really here. Like Manchester United had to be really, really happy because all our teams brought it. So for me, I'm on hype, and I just want the hype to keep on going.
Indeed. But we've got a tough test, ain't we, Rebel?
Absolutely. No, you can take no game for granted in the Premier League. We've all learned so much over the course of the seasons that we've supported our respective clubs that even in the moments of your greatest highs, you can be brought down to reality by a result that goes against the grain. And every team in the Premier League needs to be respected because every single one of them is capable of beating you. So definitely a lot to look forward to in that game. And as you mentioned earlier, it seems like we've been talking all night on Monday at this stage. There is a lot of big news regarding takeovers from Manchester United, and that is something to check out if you missed it earlier on. But I do want to welcome the two lads from Rich and JC. It's going to be a fascinating conversation.
Just to add as well, look, all these football channels, we have one big community, and Rich is an outstanding member of this community. I know Rich for a while now. We're doing this football project that he's doing with Eagle Eye Football. Obviously, he's going to plug it. I'm trying to plug it as much as I can. But they're doing a great job with in the community as well. So many things that just don't unspoken stuff they gets up to, which he really needs a lot of recognition for. So welcome to the channel once again, the mighty Richard and JC from Crystal Palace, South East London, who claim, by the way, to have the best talent pool in London. But I insist it's West London, but that's another argument. So big up to Rich. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you once again for having me on the channel. Listen, we're all football fans first and foremost. The community that we're building, it's just going out and just engaging with fans, and I've got to shout out JC, and obviously the rest of the Eagle Eye football team. I started the channel in 2021, and they were just pivotal in allowing this to grow as well. So I'm not going to take all the credit. We've built a fantastic team, and it helps when our team's playing well. But right now, oh boy.
So how long have you guys been going? JC, you're part of Eagle Eye Football as well. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Eagle Eye Football. Tell us, so how did it start? And how do you grow? I mean, where are you at now with numbers and subscription? And what do you do throughout the week? How many shows you put out throughout the week?
I think we do quite. I think this week specifically, the previews and reviews for every match is going to be a lot. Currently, I'm doing a transfer weekly show during the transfer windows. but I'm trying to do 2 a week because 1 a week for the January window. There's only 4 episodes in it, and I try every away day I try and do a match day vlog as well. But joining the channel, I got stood up. I wasn't actually meant to jump on the stream in the first place.
Tell us more.
I was just a fan of Rich and Nate, the other guy, and I was sitting there watching the shows, and then the missus just gave me a phone and said, "Oh, look here," and then I was on the stream. I was thinking, "Oh gosh," and it just sort of happened from there. So I got to thank her for this.
So your experience now, that was your debut. And it's also your debut in the Man United agenda as well. Listen, guys, what we start the show off with, usually preview. We talk about the rivalry. Obviously, you've been an established Premiership club for the majority of the Premiership years, you know, and we do fear you. You usually got, like I said, about the talent pool. And there's been some many great games over the years, you know. So we're going to go around the room and just talk about the good and the bad and the ugly of this clash that we've been having. I'm going to start with the FA Cup final. Ian Wright, broken leg. Thank God he was out. But Gary Pallister saw him come on, and he came on, chopped him in half, and caused the replay with a brace of goals to equal Mark Hughes. That was a massive game. And what was even better than that, with you beating Liverpool in the semi-final. Epic. Who when Liverpool were great. So there's some great times there at Palace, and they've always been in my heart, especially with Steve Coppell as well. That's the association with Manchester United Football Club. CALLULA, let's go to you. Good, bad, and the ugly of the Palace and Man United rivalry. What do you know?
So for me, I'd say I'll be honest with you. I don't actually know a lot about Palace other than I've got the coolest name that I can see. And when I realised I actually had a Crystal Palace, I was like, yep, I like that. It's better than most of the other London teams. But I just remember my dad talking about I think it was 92-93 when we beat you guys 2-0. That I think it was 92-93. Guys, quote me in the comments if I'm wrong. But that's what I remember, and we just went for it, and that's unfortunately what I want to continue. I just want us to get the 3 points off you. It sounds harsh being Arinos. I know the last team that you got points from was Bournemouth. It's a few games ago, so I just want us to continue before Arsenal.
Okay, Rebel, over to you. What's your older and wise, or does your grey hair give it away? How far are you going back? 1950s, I think.
Monday, before we do get to that, I do want to offer the condolences of the Man United agenda to Stuart Marshall on the loss of his dad, Jerry, who was a massive United fan. May he rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
On behalf of the Man United agenda, Stuart, I'm really sorry to hear this, man. Our thoughts are with you. Condolences to you and the family. And let's talk. If you need to talk to anyone on the channel, we're there for you, bro.
100%.
Sorry. Jeez.
I think it's about it doesn't matter. We all love football, no matter what team you got. We're all here with you, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Over to you, Rebel.
In terms of my memories of Crystal Palace, in fact, it's not a Manchester United fond memory because I play fantasy football, and Van Arnold and Wan-Bissaka in his debut season were staples of my fantasy football. So I'm always watching Crystal Palace for that little gem. Eze, if he was managed to stay fit and didn't have that injury, would have been another one where you'd nearly been saying, I'm going to pop him in that fantasy football and I'm just going to let the guy cruise because that guy's a baller. I don't care what anyone says. That guy's a big future if he can just overcome those injury niggles that are kind of upsetting his flow. But so my fond memories are the hauls that Crystal Palace players used to get me in fantasy football. My not so fond memories are recently we've been having trouble getting the job done against them, as evidenced by the last 6 games. 3 losses, a draw, and only 2 wins. So it's currently advantaged Palace in the recent history. So that's where my memories are currently residing.
Okay, over to you, boys. Be interested to hear this. You're the good and the bad, the ugly of your clashes with Man United. There has been a lot of good though, hasn't there, guys?
There has recently. I'm not going to talk about the bad because that's just going to give me PTSD. But one memory from me, and this was actually my first ever visit to Old Trafford, 2011. Was it called the Carling Cup at the time? Darren Ambrose rocket from 35 yards.
I remember that.
Or so, yeah. It's crazy because that day I called in sick for work, and the following day when I went into work, the office guy, because I was working in the school, he was like, "So you were sick, were you?" Fortunately for you, the head teacher doesn't watch football. And then he shows me his phone. He's like, and there's a picture of me doing this in the crowd.
Oh dear.
So yeah, that was one of my greatest memories.
Over to you, JC. Good, bad, ugly, you pick. How's it been against United for you?
To be fair, I don't think there's been much good, because I would say I'm sort of a late on Crystal Palace fan. I only really started watching football when I was about 17, so then that means I think my first couple games was that FA Cup run, and obviously I think my third or fourth game ever was the FA Cup final. That's definitely the ugly. But I think the good, I've only been to Old Trafford once, and that was a 0-0. So I can't really say that's very good. But I think when it was COVID and watching us beat you, I think Townsend scored first with a nice little cross from Eze. I was jumping around the living room there. I say that's probably my best memory, because there ain't very many against United, unfortunately.
Guys, we're going to go for some comments, because I'm sure people got a lot to say. Big up to Solo. He said big up the panel. Columns here saying big up ladies and gents on the panel. Good to see some Eagles fans on the show as well. Not one, but two. Got Mr. B in the house. Evening, everyone. He's saying here. Bill Badger talking about an incident on BBC. I'm sure we will see that later. Column saying just in apparently United Open talks with Tillemans. Yank talking smack. Connor saying watching first time Burnham, Forest Green. Medri has been fantastic. Obviously, he's doing a lone watch. Big up to Robbie Norman, all the way from Ireland. How you doing? And Chris Moss as well. Big up, man. He's saying, come on, PV, pick out, get a win, and sell Saha for cheap. We get on to that later. And as you know, guys, we have some really devastating news for the Marshall family. Our thoughts are with you. MUFC saying good evening here, and a lot of condolences here. Look at this fan base here. Look at the community we have here. So all you guys, great support. Chris Moss is saying here, Mark Bright, Ian Wright combination. Yeah, you have to go way back for that, but they were scary. Came up through the leagues and just devastating combination. Back when it used to be 4-4-2. Big man, little man. They're just amazing. Really good players. Stuart Marshall again said, cheers, lads. Let's hope we win for tomorrow. I want to say hi to Ruby Productions. It's Mick from Realist Man United TV. Go and check them out. He's saying good evening to everyone on the panel. And Emma's showing love as well for the Marshall family. I'm sure we'll win tomorrow, says MUFC. Want to say hi to Robbie Norman again, because he's saying Cantona boom. That was something we didn't mention, surprisingly. It's Kung Fu and kicking the ban. Yeah, that was we watched that live. That was actually on terrestrial TV way back in the day, and that was a rough game. And yeah, Selhurst Park with Wimbledon and Crystal Palace at the time was a really daunting place to go to. But yeah, Cantona lashed out and he was banned. Weghorst hat-trick tomorrow, says Stumpy. Bill Badger saying Matic goal was mint. Yeah, the 3-3 FA Cup final and Kung Fu kick. Saha winner at the end. You beat us 3-1 at Old Trafford. Yeah, there you go. Want to say hi to Paul Tierney as well. He's saying good FA Cup with Ian Wright, bad relegation. Ugly Pardew dancing against United in the final, though they lost as well. And here we go. Robbie's saying FA Cup game, something else. Bright and right with a W, that would be. And Stuart saying, I'll be at the game tomorrow singing my heart out. God bless you, Stuart. All right, we're going on to the next thing here. I just want to talk about availability. I know we've all got some information here, but I'm going to start with Crystal Palace. For as far as I know, their centre-back, Anderson, who everyone's raving about, because he's sort of transforming the way they play. They added a new dimension to their play under Vieira, because they play it out from the back, and this guy can ping a ball left to right with ease. He's just a cultured centre-back. But apparently he's got a calf injury, and he might not be playing. So tell us about it, boys. Tell us about Anderson as well. What has he brought to your side, and how much of a loss would he be, especially with Tompkins maybe being a replacement, guys? Over to you two.
Can we skip this question? And Anderson, I think he's probably the main player that's shifted our playing style from a Roy Hodgson style of football to a Patrick Vieira kind of football, because even though he is a centre-back, he is probably one of our biggest attacking outlets, because with the passing range that I think everyone knows about in the Premier League now, because he done it when he was at Fulham, and he's doing it for us now. He can beat a press with one ball, and then we're in. And he's also a great defender as well. He loves getting into people, loves being like a proper old school centre back. Example of that is when he got Nunes sent off, got him rattled up, and he snapped. So he's able to get in their heads and do what a good centre back's meant to do. But without him, we bought a backup centre back from Bayern Munich, Chris Richards, for £12 million. He was meant to be the backup, but we're still calling upon James Tompkins. So that puts question marks on his head to see how good he actually is if we have to play a fossil fuels centre-back like James Tompkins, who's the wrong side of 30 by a long way, and he's still playing. And all I know with Tompkins is he is still a Hodgson type of player who's just long ball. So that playing out from the back disappears when Anderson's not on the pitch.
Can you add to that, Rich? I mean, like, so it's obviously issues with the way you play and with the replacement as well. There's an issue there because you're going all like, put your head down in shame.
Yeah.
What about, just to add to that a little bit, and what about your issues you're having with scoring at the moment? Because I look at your front 4 or 5, I think, wow, Rebel was raving about Eze. I've seen him at QPR a lot of the time and thought, wow, this guy's a baller, you know. But what's going on? No goals in a lot of defeats recently. What's the issue there, please? Break that down.
Just on the Tompkins situation, Fulham did their homework. Literally, they at the time Gay was suspended, so they literally just marked Anderson, and we had to pass the ball to Tompkins all the time. And it's just like, oh my gosh, he's just not good playing out the back. Obviously, as well, a lack of pace. So, oh man, Rashford, anything in behind. We're in bother, you know. Please, PV, just pick Richards. If he has a stinker, let's just play him. We'll just have a better chance defending, you know.
Sorry, Rich, before we go on to the forward line as well, I don't know much about Richards. What sort of player is he? Does he spray the ball? Is he a cultured defender? What's his game? I don't know.
He is.
No, you don't know either.
Yeah. Well, I know just based on what I've seen of him when he was up by Munich. And then he went on loan to Hoffenheim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he can play out from the back. He's very good, comfortable on the ball. Good in the air as well. He can play right back and left back. And there's another position where we're thinking, why have we not started him there? Like, it's just a bunch of question marks. And it brings about JC's question. Like, maybe we signed him and PV's like, yo, you're not even good enough. Like, we just won't know. We just won't know. But our front line, there's one reason for this. We're putting square pegs in round holes. This whole experiment with Wolf playing up top, it don't work.
Yeah.
Stick him back on the left-hand side, please, and put a proper striker up top. Obviously, the massive debate, especially with our fan bases, regarding Jordan Ayew, who I feel works hard. I think in these sort of games, he's the type of player you just need, like someone to just buy you fouls, work hard, hold up the ball, and so on and so forth. The biggest issue is when he then gets into the final third, yeah, it's a problem. And lately, Austin Edouard, he's just not starting games. It's weird. The last game he started was the FA Cup game, and he scored, and then he was benched again. So it's, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know if there's like any, if they're not training hard. No idea. But personally, Edouard needs to start for us to score goals.
Cluda, you wanted to jump in there. I can see you going.
Yeah, it was about Ayew. Do you think that Ayew got punished because of the Spurs match? Because it was the 0-4 for Spurs? Because that's for me. What I want to say is that I think he got punished unfairly. I think he needed a bit more time. But I think the 4-0 to Spurs really did kick it in. And then after that, I feel like it was like, what do you do with him now?
Because memory serves me right, he hit the crossbar in that game, I think.
Yeah.
He had a real good chance. And after that, like, and you know, we can't blame Ayew for that. The whole team were terrible.
No, it wasn't his fault, no.
I would still class Ayew as the man of the match in that game, honestly, because he was the only one actually trying to drive with the ball and dribble with the ball.
And that's why I think it's unfair for him, because I think he's such a good forward for you. But at that match, it kind of like, it got him, and it was really unfair. And I feel
Yeah,
after
but
that it kind of lost faith.
It just sums up our fan base, especially on Twitter, guys. Twitter, listen, don't take anything personal on Twitter and stuff. It's literally there's always a meltdown whenever they see Jordan Ayew's name, but I don't think he's played drastically bad. Yes, I would prefer Alicia to be on the right hand side, but Ayew actually does work hard for us. So
yeah. But
He does.
unfortunately, there's a bigger meltdown for another Ghanaian in our team that starts every week. And that's Schlupp.
Yeah.
If we start
He's playing
Schlupp in
centre
midfield,
midfield, isn't he? He used to be a left wing back, or he's playing all over the place. He's like a utility player. He's centre mid now since Callum. Who's the guy from Chelsea? Gallagher. Is it Gallagher?
Conor Gallagher.
Conor Gallagher. Is that a big miss? Rebel, what do you know about Conor Gallagher? Because he's got an Irish name. I mean, what's your thoughts on Conor Gallagher? Do you think that's a big miss for Crystal Palace since he left? Because he was outstanding last season.
Obviously, he was one of the again fantasy football targets that was constantly on my watch list, and definitely, I think if he'd actually remained at Palace this season, he probably would have kicked on his development more. I'm not sure going back to Chelsea has actually benefited him. I think he'd been far better off possibly looking for even a permanent move to you and kickstarting his career in the right way, and then both sides would have benefited. Crystal Palace from having Gallagher remain, and Gallagher then from having his talents enhanced, because if anyone is going to enhance a centre mid, it's PV, because he's been there, he's done that, he's bought the t-shirt. One of the other players that I've noticed looks like he might be missing is MacArthur. I'm not sure how much he's been getting into your starting lineup as of late, but again, he was one that would have been on my fantasy football hit list in years gone by. Interesting, Edmund was another guy, again, on a fantasy football circuit that would have been one of those kind of budget strikers that I've been looking at, and I don't understand why he gets rotated out so much. In terms of Zaha, obviously he has played for both clubs. Even though he hasn't scored since November, he scored twice in his last 3 games against us. So I'd imagine you can throw that form out the window, because chances are he's going to register somewhere in that game the next day. But in terms of players, Crystal Palace cultivate players and enhance their value. And I'd imagine if you gave Gallagher the choice back, he would say, send me back.
Yeah. CALLULA, do you think anything to add before we go on to Man United about Crystal Palace? And you've noticed they're not playing conventionally. I've looked at their team sheet recently, and they've mixed it up. They've got Elise playing in the centre when he should be out wide right, and Saha playing centre mid, centre forward when he should be out wide left. What's going on there with all this rotation?
Well, I actually like it. It's kind of like when you go to it's a gamble. Like that,
It doesn't work.
I do like it, but that's what I was about to say. If it works for them, I really feel for them, because it's kind of like a dice roll, or it's kind of like the perfect moment. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's a shame. It's kind of one of those. But I can see what Vieira wants to do, and I think he wants to test. I think it's a testing thing, and I hate to say it, but there's a few teams that I'll say to myself that really give United a bit of trouble. Palace and Wolves.
Yeah,
you never know what's going to happen.
They're fast. They've got it all. Just want to add, there's 2 guys that came from Derby. There's Will Hughes, indirectly came from Derby, came through their academy, and also you signed Malcolm Iwobi. What's the name? Malcolm.
He's having a big moment.
Yeah, left footed. He's been for all the clubs. Has he got an attitude problem? And is he getting many games? And also, the other day we were playing Charlton, and we come up against your young loanee guy as well. So it looks like you've got a few youngsters there coming through. Just touch on those guys quickly before we go into Man United. So Malcolm and the guy on loan from Charlton.
Yeah, Malcolm doesn't have an attitude problem. I just think he's struggling to adapt to the physicality and the skill set of the Premier League. So he's gone out on loan to Hull, I believe it is.
No, he's not gone. He's
not gone yet.
It fell through. He's got a knee injury.
Oh, snap. Oh, fantastic. Another knee injury. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that happened. Raksaki's doing pretty well at Charlton. However, the Charlton fans are stupid because they're booing Wan-Bissaka, but they've got our low knee playing in their team. So they look a bit stupid there.
So what about the guy on loan in Charlton? Has he got a future in the Premiership? Do you think he ever make Premiership player?
I think he needs to bulk up.
Okay. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Zaha when he was coming through the academy. But the thing is with Zaha is he would only dribble, but Raksaki's actually got the goals to go with it as well. So if you're looking on potential, you could hazard a guess of maybe he's got more potential than Zaha as looking at him right now. But obviously, Zaha made the jump to men's football really well. He just jumped straight into the Championship. And we're starting off Raksaki a league below that, so we'll know. I reckon he'll go out on loan again next season to a Championship team, and I think after then we'll know 100% whether he's good enough or not. But I don't see why not.
Just a couple of comments here before we come to Man United. Paul Tierney saying, hoping Wan-Bissaka keeps up his impressive form. Former Palace player, of course, big up for him. Lasting, thinking of the Marshalls like men or something. And I want to say hi to Tony Claude Gunner TV. Make sure you go and subscribe to him. He's one of the biggest, best, kindest, nicest guys in the community. I love him a lot. I've been on the show a couple of times, and I will be looking out for him very soon because this guy can really, really host like with the most of them. He's a top guy. Go and check out Claude Gunner TV as well. And he's saying hi to everyone. And also, true City fan as well. Welcome. He's saying big shout out to the panel. Welcome to you, man. Hope you're doing, man. And doing well. A revenge. Yeah, we will see, Tony. Anyway, what do we know, Callula and Rebel? What do we know about availability for Man United? Let's talk. I mean, let's talk Dalot and Sancho because apparently they're unavailable. Well, do you know why?
I'm going to hand that to Rebel because the Sancho situation for me is heartbreaking. Yeah. So I'm going to hand it to Rebel.
Yeah, well, looking at the team sheets, it looks like match fitness is basically the concern that is cited in respect to both of them. Dalot is currently suffering a thigh injury. Sancho and Turnzabi are both out due to match fitness. Now, the more startling conundrum that's going to be there for Ten Hag isn't actually regarding injured players, regarding players that are in yellow card trouble. That is Mr. Casemiro and Mr. Fred. Obviously, we know what Fred did in terms of his man-marking job of KDB. He was on him like a rash for 90 minutes. But if either of those picked up a yellow card, it means the implication is because we haven't played our 19th game yet, they are out of the Arsenal game. So where that leaves Ten Hag's mindset is going to be the real question. Does he risk not playing them against Crystal Palace? And by doing so, does he risk the potential of getting a result?
Good shout. Any other crisis there with availability?
I think it's a difficult one because we've got I'm not saying we're chasing points, but we're at a point where we didn't think we would be. And the conundrum is, what do we do? I don't want them to play the guys with the yellow cards. I don't. But the guys with the yellow cards, unfortunately, are the ones that have been making the moves. Do we have enough confidence? Now, you got to think, look at the FA Cup third round, look at Charlton, look at what we've gone through. We've got to make sure we've got the confidence with the other players. And that is really going to be the difficulty with Ten Hag. Do we have the confidence with those players? Because it's Palace. And no matter what, it doesn't matter if Palace hasn't won a game since Bournemouth. Palace might go, you know what, it's Man United.
Yeah.
And go ham.
Make sure, guys, there's a team watching right now. Give us a like. Press that button for us if you don't mind, please. All right, we're talking about selection issues, availability for both sides. What we do on a preview, drum roll, please. We're going to bring on Solo's 11. And Solo is our main man. He always tries to pick or to predict the side with his crystal ball. And here's what we've got. We've got De Gea in goal, Malacia, short centre back again, Varane and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, obviously Delos's injured. Fred with Eriksen and Bruno in midfield. We've got Garnacho out wide on the left, Anthony out wide on the right. And we've got, Weghorst is starting. And no Rashford. Anyway, going to start with you, Rebel. What's going on here? Talk to me about this Solo's 11.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to say points earned now are better than potential points later because you do run the risk of ending up with 0 points if you misroll the dice here. In terms of the selection that's there, I think Wan-Bissaka does start because Dalot obviously isn't fit enough at this present time. Shaw and Varane, I'm kind of a bit confused as to why Eriksen Martinez isn't selected in some shape, means, or form. Now, obviously, Shaw has done a great job in those games that he's deputized, but I'm going to disagree that he's going to put Shaw centre back again and say that Martinez will probably be fit enough to return, and he needs those minutes ahead of Arsenal anyway. Midfield, Eriksen has been like the beating heart of Manchester United, along with Casemiro, since he arrived. And the one concern I have is that we have the Bruno syndrome with him. Remember when Bruno arrived first day, he was played week in, week out, game in, game out, and sometimes in games that he didn't necessarily to be out in. And the end of the season, his input started to taper off because he was absolutely bushwhacked. So it's probably a necessity to play Eriksen, given that Cass may be left out due to the yellow card trouble. Fred, again, you have to run one of them because we don't have sufficient bodies of midfielders unless you're putting Eriksen, McTominay, and that is a big, big risk because they haven't played together that much. Garnacho, absolutely agree that he does deserve a starting berth. Bruno, again, you can't argue with it because essentially he is the only player in his position. Anthony does need to get those minutes and try and find that burst of confidence. And then that leaves us with up top. Does he go with the on-fire Rashford from the start and bring in Big Weg second half? Or does he roll the dice and say, look, Weghorst, you've been with us a week, you've been training with us, I'm going to give you the opportunity to lead that attacking line and cause a bit of mayhem to the Palace defence, given that they're missing one of their star defenders.
Yeah.
For me, I think...
you're asking the question. What's the answer, Rebel?
For me, I think he goes with Rashford because I don't think it's within Ten Hag's psyche to start a debut player. I think he'll bring him off the bench in his first game and possibly spring a surprise by starting him against the Gunners on Sunday.
CALLULA, as with Johnny Nash, there are more questions than answers, especially with Solo's 11. You've got the answers for this because I'm confused.
For me, I actually think this is the right decision because we've got a lot of tough matches coming up. So we might as well. This isn't a silverware thing. This is probably not to say bad to the Palace guys, but if you're going to start him, we start him here. That's the thing. Like Rashford, you can't just go, we're going to just throw Rashford in all the time. We've got to give him a rest. So I think that that's the better that is the better analogy. Like at the start, there's nothing wrong with the 60-minute line going, okay, Rashford, get on, we need a goal, which is what he does. It's a lot of managers do it, look at the matches we've seen recently. But I think that's a good start off. I do want to see more from Anthony, only because I want him to increase his acceleration. I don't want him to slow down and let everyone come up to him. I want him to not rely on one foot. I want to see more. And I think that this isn't bad. I think Wan-Bissaka, a lot of people aren't giving him credit as well, because in the City match, he was doing some jazz. If anyone saw, like, some of the times, no one could get the ball off him. So I think we've got a good amount of people here.
Let's tag in the two Crystal Palace tag team there, and you can go in and put the boots in on this team. Rich and JC, let's have it. What do you know about this team, and what do you know about Man United so far? Where do you see threats and weaknesses?
I wish we had that many options.
Yes. I'm honestly happy to not see Rashford at all tomorrow, to be honest. I was actually glad to hear about the Casemiro situation, because I know you shouldn't bypass us, because any Premier League game, anything can happen. And I'm not saying that, we're going to win or anything, not at all. But if you lose a player like that to a silly yellow card for the game against Arsenal, that is going to be criminal. And I think you've got enough players to be able to navigate a team like us, The only other thing I'd love to see you do is play Maguire. Then maybe we got a chance.
God. JC, put the boots in. Go on.
I don't know, but all I know is that somehow Shaw's been a revelation at centre back, and I don't know. I would probably like to see McFred return, so that we might actually have a chance in midfield. Because, Rich, as you know, we've only got one midfielder, so we might as well play against their one midfielder as well as McFred. But listen, just hearing you guys talk about, oh, we could play this, we're going to rest these people just for this game, we'll just do this just for this game, we're looking ahead. That's just something that we dream of as Palace fans. Put it this way, we've got a starting 11 and that's it. Yeah.
And even the starting 11 is questionable.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. So pretty much our starting 11 picks itself. So I bet you that we could tell you the starting 11 right now and it would be perfect.
Well, Kallula, you're going to say something, then we go and ask them quickly.
I just want to say to the comment of UK strains, like I understand what you mean, but we can't start Rashford every time. We've got to be thinking about Arsenal. That's the thing for me. So I do think that we should be able to, at least in the first 45 minutes, not play him and give him some rest. So I get that, and I get that we can't do the fatal mistake, which is relying on one player. We can't do it.
Rebel,
and I think Rebel coming in.
Can I offer the counterpoint of, would it be better to start him and take him off at the start of the second half, having done his damage, rather than relying on possibly him having to dig us out of a ditch in the second half? What
I would say is that I would like to believe that, but we don't seem to like doing well in the first half.
Touche.
Yeah, so I'm just going to put that out there.
Guys, Palace guys, eagle-eyed boys, men. Sorry, no disrespect. You know what I mean. But give me a look. Let's go for your side. You play a 4-2-3-1 kind of. Let's just name me your side. What's likely to put out there? Because you said you got selection problems, so this should be easy. Just run it out for you, one each. Goalie,
Gaeta.
Right back, Clyde or Ward.
Right back, yeah.
Klein or Ward, is it?
Klein.
Okay. Centre backs.
We'll go Gay and Tompkins.
And Mitchell.
Mitchell will play left back, but I'm hoping if he's not going to play Richards, then I'd rather him play Gay and Ward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I trust Ward more as centre back than Tompkins.
But we know it will be Tompkins, so that's the problem.
So I know JC, you were cussing earlier when we said about the midfield too. Give me a little something about Decore. Tell us about him, because it's not the Decore from Everton, is it? This is a Decore you brought in, and why can't Schlupp play there?
This is Czech Decore we're talking about, and we're talking about the guy who ran that Lens midfield. I feel like if anything, we've done him dirty because they're in a Champions League spot right now. But I tell you what, this guy runs that midfield on his own. So everything you've seen him do this season, he's done it on his own in that midfield, because Eze and Schlupp just don't work in that midfield with him at all. And Schlupp does not complement Decore one bit. If we had someone like Decore sitting next to him, listen, we could let our front four go wild, but we can't, because Schlupp's passing ability is dreadful. He's so one-footed. It hurts my head. Like he can't pass 2 feet with his right foot. I don't think he touches the ball with his right foot. So if he's not passing out to the left, he ain't passing. He's going to try and run through someone, and you can't do that in football because other people defend against it.
JC, just touch on Decore, because I don't know his game. A lot of our fans don't know his game. What's his game? How does he play in midfield? Is he a holding player? Is he an aggressive player? What's his game? Is he a baller? What's he doing?
He is a extremely composed DM. Yeah. He will pick up the ball. He is not afraid to dribble with the ball. He's not very tall, but he's extremely strong on the ball. Like, I would be very surprised if anyone could body him off the ball, because he was badding up like Thiago Silva last week. He's really strong on the ball. He can ping a great ball, and he's just a great addition to this team.
Thankfully, this ain't Mr. Olympia then, so we don't have to worry about that.
He get into your team. I'll tell you that now.
Really? Okay. Guys, watch out. Player cam on Decore tomorrow, please. Rich, just give us the front three and the striker, please.
I don't know. This is where he changes it all the time. He's going to play Zaha up front. I can just see it, even though I don't want that to happen. I think he'll go Jordan Ayew on the left and Alicia on the right. because I think hopefully he'll realise that Eze on the left doesn't work. He needs to play in the 10.
Do these guys track back with their runners, with the fullbacks?
Jordan does.
Elise, not really.
Not so much, yeah. At least doesn't. Not so much.
And Eze in the middle, yeah?
I reckon Eze will play in the 10 and Zaha up top.
Okay. But there we have it, boys. There we have it. All right, we're going to come to predictions. Before we do, so think about your scoreline, guys. Based on everything, we've given you the solo 11. We've given you availability and all that. And we've just seen, I'm going to check out Decore for sure, because I like how JC was building him up. He's under pressure now.
He's brilliant.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, here we go. So they're bigging him up now. So Chris is saying here, feed the Weghorst. He must score, depending on whether he scores or not, whether he plays. Emma saying about mental health with Sancho. Is down in the dumps. It affected him in all aspects. So Ten Hag took some time out to work with it, which is a good sign of good manager. Go and say hi to Rich Sports, guys. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to Rich Sports channel. He's top man. As I said earlier, Tony Claude, Gunner Claude, saying I'm speaking facts. I didn't do it on purpose, but yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I really love him a lot. He's a really good personality. Good points there, Rebel, says Chris Moss, when you were giving your little breakdown. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is from an Arsenal fan. You see, it's not all hate until Sunday at 4 o'clock. Bella, I'm going to butcher your name. Bella, Bella. We said it yesterday. It's with El La. It's extended, isn't it? He's saying to MK, yeah, I know it's been a while, referring to Sancho. And in response, she's saying, yeah, because it takes a while to get back to a good place mentally. And he also has to get back to match fitness as well. That's massive. Solo's saying, can we have 11 Freds in this team? You know Solo loves Fred. Viva Ganacho, says Bella. Are you thinking about your predictions, guys? MUFC saying Rashford won't score, or won't always score off the bench. Remember that. And UK Strange is saying Rashford starts. Emma's saying, I think probably Martinez starts there tomorrow. Bella is saying if Sancho and Ganacho ever start together, it'll be called Gar Sancho. I like that one. I want to say hi as well to Ben. How you doing, Ben? One of our regulars. Big up. Nice to see you. We got UK Strange saying, I don't see any way we can lose to Palace. 3 points and then on to Arsenal. And then we got some scorelines coming in already. So let me just start with these, just to give you a feel what the people are saying in the comments. Stumpy is saying Palace 2, United 7. It's like a 1954 scoreline, is it? Weghorst with a hat trick. 2-1 in a nervous game. Mr. B, we will be covering it with Rebel, myself, and Mr. B. That's tomorrow on the Man United agenda. Solo saying 1-0 to United. Butland can't play, apparently. We're getting indication here. Is that right, Rebel? Yep. Ben
correct,
saying
yeah.
here 3-1 to United. We will start slow, but we think it will turn out good. And saying 20-0. All right, how do I do it? Monday pronounced B. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hate butchering people's names. And Adil is in the house saying 3-0. Rashford again scoring. What a record that would be if he continues to score like this. And finally, Robin Norman saying 1-0 in a rough win for United. Going to start with the Palace boys. Fire away. Just be punchy. Richard and JC, let us know what you're thinking the prediction will be for the scoreline.
If Edward starts 2-1 United, if Edward doesn't start 2-0.
JC?
I think it's going to be 3-1 United. I don't think it matters who starts and who doesn't.
Okay. Rebel?
Ten Hag said when he arrived at Manchester United, era's come to an end. At the same time, I think bad runs can come to an end, so we have to be guarded against that. I think it's going to be a kind of a cagey affair, and similar to what Solo and Robbie have said, I think 1-0 United, and the goal will probably come from a unusual source, and that'll be Anthony.
And Callula, you've got the final pick.
I'm going with 2-1.
2-1.
I think that Palace is going to get some cojones out of nowhere because it's us. And I think they're going to get a goal. But I think that it's going to be 2-1 to us.
What do you think about this? Now, Adil said if you beat City, you can beat any team. And B-La, there you go. B-La, there you go. I've got it now. Forgive me. Is saying it's B-La, naturally. And we need a bit of faith, says Robbie Norman. And Emma saying absolutely no confidence from the Palace boys. I don't think it's that. I think we got a bigger squad, bigger depth off the bench. It really matters, doesn't it? If you can bring people on 5 subs after 60 minutes, it seems to make a world of difference. And do you think that, guys, just last question before we wind up. Do you think that the squad depth is killing teams like yourself? You got good first 11, but then when you come on, like you played Chelsea the other day, they got so many people coming off the bench, which is good quality. does that hurt you long term with this marathon of the Premier League?
Unfortunately, so.
Yeah, I think every team below 10th is suffering from this 5-sub rule. I really don't like it because it really benefits the people with the bigger squad.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when you play against Man City, they bring on they take off world-class players and just bring on even more. Like if they take on off Haaland, they'll bring on Alvarez, who's a World Cup winner. It just, I don't know. It just feels like they're bending the rules to suit the bigger teams a lot more than us.
Rebel, have you got any news? I've heard you got some breaking news. You've always got your ear to the ground. What are you hearing on the grapevine about availability now?
It does seem like Casemiro could be rested. That the gamble isn't something that he's prepared to take. However, he will clearly be on the bench. And if there's a need for him to come in to break up play, I'm sure Ten Hag will have to go for the 3 points that is on the table on tomorrow's game, because you cannot be banking for points in a game that has not yet even begun to be formed. So it looks like Casemiro could indeed start on the bench. And a lot of fans on Twitter are agreeing with CALLULA that Rashford will not start.
You just mentioned something about Martial not training. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Ten Hag has also stated in the press conference today that he had hoped that Martial would not pick up a niggle in the last game. They had to take him off, as we saw, and he has not trained this week. So not only is he unlikely to even be on bench tomorrow, he probably is out of the Arsenal game, because if you haven't trained, there'd probably be a match fitness question hanging over him.
Is the door ajar for Weghorst then, CALLULA?
He's got to then show what he's got. Opportunities. What I do feel that is the Palace game, and it sounds harsh, but it is. Why would we start him? It doesn't make sense. If we're going to troll our new guy, we're going to do it now. I think Rashford's going to be there for the Arsenal game.
Rich, over to you. I want you to plug the channel, and also in your toughest Mr. B voice, threaten people if they don't press the like button. There's 27 watching right now. Threaten them. If you don't press the like button, you're going to come for them.
Yeah, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you're new as well, please. Otherwise, don't come South London. Nah, in all seriousness.
Border! Don't cross the river, man.
Nah, in all seriousness, thank you so much once again for having not only myself but JC on. We are Eagle-Eyed Football, and we just produce Palace content for you guys. We'll be doing fan cams after the game tomorrow. So you either see a big smile or a massive frown, depending on how the result goes.
Brilliant. Guys, at the Man United Agenda, if anyone's watching now, Eagle-Eyed Ball. Is it Eagle-Eyed Ball, the channel on YouTube? Please subscribe. Come on. We're not just Man United fans here, we're football fans. And look at the community. They come on and represent. And likewise, they're always offering us invitations or summons to come to South London. I think Errol's been a bit scared now. I think Errol had a ticket. Maybe he might not cross the river with that sort of threatening talk there, Rich. And JC, do you want to just big up your channel a bit furthermore and to invite people to come and subscribe? Because you guys are doing great.
Yeah, man, just come sub to Eagle-Eyed Football. We got some good fan cams going, some match vlogs going, and reviews and previews. And you'll probably see us jumping around on lots of streams like we are today. You know, just getting the word out and helping everyone out, because you know we're all in this football thing together, and we all want to hear everyone's opinion. So let's see what happens tomorrow.
All right. Any other business, guys, before we sign out? There's load of great comments today as well. CALLULA, you've been fantastic. Anything, the teddies or the thing in the background of talking? What's the gossip?
Basically, for me, football is the one. Do you want me to get the teddy of Justice and Doom?
Yes, please.
Like, you know, the hand puppet of Justice and Doom. But basically, I've got a lot of respect for Palace, and we've got to bring it because they're one of those teams that could just go bangarang on us, and that's the thing. So we've got to be careful, and because we've got Arsenal as well, you know, very soon, you know, bring it, guys. You might not be frowning. You know.
Sign us out, Rebel. Just let us know what's happening in the Man United agenda tomorrow. Really important day.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like today. It's a full-on day of content. We will be going live roughly 30 minutes before kickoff for the watch along. I'll be making my debut. There, obviously, Mr. B and OMONDI have done one already, so I'll be invading the party, and we'll be talking all things surrounding the game. Then CALLULA and Pat will be part of the reaction team. They will be giving their verdict on who performed and who needs to be put into the cement head.
So there you go, guys. Maximum respect to the Palace, Eagle Eye Ball. We will see you tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting encounter, especially with the lineups and the availability. And may the best team win, as they say. Hopefully, see you soon. God bless the Palace fans and big up to Man United. Let's hope we get that win. Bless up everyone in the comments.
So just quickly, once again, rest in peace to was it Stuart's father?
That's right. Big up to the Marshall family. Our thoughts are with you. And no words can describe. We just have a moment of silence for him and the family. It's a devastating thing, isn't it? So God bless you guys, the Marshall family from the Man United agenda. Thank you, Rich, and big up to all you guys out there. Good night.